Now, when searching online for basses, you probably have seen one of these brands: Fender, Gibson, Ibanez, Musicman, Yamaha. These are incredible brands. There's a reason why you know about these brands. But you know, here recently I've noticed that there's been a rise in the mid-tier and sometimes boutique companies making really high quality basses for very affordable prices. After doing some research in the past little bit, I found these 3 basses that I was like, man, I really want to tell you guys about them because you should know about these basses. So today, that's what we're going over. Now, before we get started, if you're interested in any of these basses, they will all be linked in the description below. And also, if you want to support this channel, feel free to check out my website, travisdykesmusic.com. All right, so now this first bass is one that you've probably seen on my channel before, or one that's just like it, which is the Ray 4 Sub-Series bass by Sterling by Musicman. And this is pretty much a lot of the same things in this one, but this is a short scale version. What short scale basically means is that the neck is smaller, even the body is a little bit smaller, and it's just a lot easier to play, maybe a little less tension in the strings. I've heard that before, but it really feels good, especially if you're somebody who wants a bass that's not too big for them. Just so you can see the actual size of this, this is pretty much the same exact length as my guitar, as you can see. Literally, it's like the same exact length. And so the reason why they make these is for people who, maybe it could be a kid, or if it could just be someone who just wants a smaller bass. It still packs the same quality as a normal size full scale bass. Now, this bass's build quality is really, really top notch. It's pretty much just like, you know, any of the other sub-series type basses or Ray 4 type basses. The body is really, really solid. It's very pliable, and it does not feel cheap at all. It actually has some really good weight to it. It doesn't feel like a toy or anything. It feels like a really genuinely good bass. Now, it's got the normal tuners that you see on these type basses with a roasted maple neck, which I think just looks amazing. And also, it has a little bit different electronics. It's all passive electronics on here. And pretty much the knobs, you have a volume, you have a rotary selector. I'll tell you about that in a second. And then you have a tone knob. And pretty much what the rotary selector is, I know whenever I heard about it, I was like, what is this? Because it clicks like this. Basically what it's doing is changing to 3 different positions that you can have for your pickup. So you can have one that's both of them at the same time. You have one that's in the middle that's just one side. And then you have one that's just the other side. Now, I can't remember exactly which one is which, but they do have a chart of it on the website whenever you're going to buy it. Now, one thing that's really cool is that even though this bass isn't active, it still can push volume a little bit more than normal passive basses, because when you press this volume button here, it pushes the knob up and boosts the volume, which is really cool. Now, I don't know for a fact if it matches like active bass volume, but it does give a pretty significant boost when you're playing. Now, if you want to do any mods in here, like change the pickups, electronics, or anything, this bass body really does really well with that. And it's just really, really solid, especially for the money. Now, I will say this bass is probably for people who want a smaller, more compact bass that's easier to travel with than just like a full scale bass, but doesn't lose any of the power and any of the control. And it pretty much sounds just like a regular full scale bass. Now, straight out of the box, the playability is actually pretty good. I was actually really surprised. The action is a little higher, just a slight bit higher than what I'm used to, but it's not too high to not be able to play it right out of the box. Like, I haven't even changed anything, and all the videos I'm playing on it is just straight out of the box. Now, the current price of this bass is just around $599, which is actually really not bad for the quality that you get out of this thing. Man, it's really not a bad price at all. Now, I'm gonna let you guys hear what this bass sounds like. And so what I'm gonna do is, for every one of these basses, I'm gonna play it in fingerstyle, slap, and I'm also gonna play it with the loop so you can hear how it sounds in context of other instruments. right, so this next bass is one that I've seen friends playing, and I was like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that thing? It sounds amazing. And so this bass is called a Charvel Pro Mod San Dimas bass. This is pretty much a company that is based out of the Jackson Guitars family. And so this company was bought by Jackson Guitars a long time ago. And also some of the first instruments made from this company was from Grover Jackson himself. So it's pretty much right there in that Jackson family. Now I will say this bass sounds so good. I really love the sound of this bass. But I will say one thing about this one is when I took it straight out of the box, because I got it brand new, the action is a little higher than I like for my taste. Like I had to lower it before I could even try to, you know, really get into it. Now I will say still even lowering the action, I think I need to take it and get set up, which is normal. Don't feel like that's like something that's not normal. Most basses you have to go and get it set up when you first get them to really get all you can out of it. And so I would definitely suggest that for this particular bass. But once you get it set up, this thing is a beast. Now the build quality of this bass is super solid and really reminds me of my bass mods that I play, the white bass that you've probably seen before. It has a caramelized maple neck that is really, really nice. And it's got like a matte finish, and so it really plays really well. The tuners are pretty standard, but they're really nice and solid. I love the gold finish of it. But then the electronics are where I was really surprised and thought, man, this thing sounds amazing. And so the electronics, we have DiMarzio pickups, all right, which is crazy nice to have in here. And then as far as the knob controls and the preamp controls, is that you have a volume knob right here is the first one, which is also an active passive. When it's pressed down is active and you pull it up as passive. And then you have a blend knob for your pickups. And then you have a low, mids, and highs knob. It gives you a lot of control of your tone. Now the bridge is really dope on this one too. It's actually a Charvel made bridge and it's really solid. I really love the look of it, and also it really is very pliable when you try to adjust anything. Now on the back of it, it has a slot for your 9-volt battery so you can have easy access to it, and it really just plays really well. This bass is pretty versatile in the different genres you can play with it, but I would specifically say this is probably more of a gospel R&B pop type bass, just because of the clarity of the high end and different things like that. But you can shift the tone to a lot of different things because of all these controls. So like if you rolled your blend knob up and you made it passive, you can kind of get more of a P bass type of tone to where it's not too bright. So you have a lot of control. So I would say this is a very versatile bass if you play multiple genres. Now, I'm gonna be honest, when I was looking up this bass, I kept seeing it for like $940, $950, $999, like right there at $1,000. When I was like doing some more research, when I was actually recording this video, I looked at the website and it's actually $1,099. So it's not necessarily under 1,000, but it's right there at it. Please don't kill me for, you know, not having one that's under 1,000. I didn't really want to take this bass out of the category because it is just such a good amount of bang for your buck. All right, now let's take a listen to what this bass sounds like. now the last bass I want to show you guys is this Michael Kelly Custom Collection Element 5R. This is a really dope bass for the amount of money. I heard somebody playing it and I was like, what bass is that? And I had to look it up and I was able to snag one and I'm like, man, this thing plays amazing. Now the build quality is really dope. It has a roasted maple neck just like the Sterling by Musicman. And honestly, it feels so good. It's got like a matte finish on the neck and the fretboard is really dope. It's a Paul Ferro fretboard. It just plays really great right out of the box. It's got a little bit of a wider neck. It's a little bit of a beefier neck. Kind of reminds me of like a Ken Smith type neck, if you know what a Ken Smith bass is. Now it has MK die-cast tuners on it that is really dope. They're kind of like the smaller ones, but they respond very well. But I will say that the bridge is what really surprised me on this bass because I was playing, I was like, man, the sustain on this is really great. And also the attack is really strong. And I was like, okay, let me do some research. And actually this bridge is kind of like one of the secrets of this bass that I don't see on a lot of basses at this price point, which it has a, what you call a aluminum tone block on the other side of this bridge so that the sustainability and the attack on this bass comes through a little bit more than normal. And also they have a stealth bridge here that they make as well. And man, when I say I didn't realize a bridge can make such a difference, it really does make a really huge difference on this bass. Now the electronics on this bass are pretty standard. It has some Rockville 5 SW pickups. And then it also has a volume knob right here. And it is also a active passive switch. And then you have a blend knob and you have lows and highs so you can control your EQ. Now I'm not gonna lie, when I started playing this bass straight out of the box, which I got it new, I could not put it down. And I was actually really surprised. The playability of this bass is really great straight out of the box. I haven't made any adjustments to it and it feels amazing, and I probably won't. It just feels so good. Now, if you want to make adjustments, the quality level of the hardware and things on this bass, it should be easy to comply to whatever changes you want to make. Now, something else I noticed on this bass is that the tension on the B string, if my five string players, y'all know what I'm talking about, sometimes that B string can be a little loose, but on this bass, it seems a little tighter, kind of like some more high quality basses that I've played in the past. And that really shocked me. And so I think that's a big part of the playability on this, is that some of these lower strings have a little bit more tension so you can get a little bit more clarity out of them. Now this bass is probably for somebody who's looking for an active bass that has a little bit more of a gospel feel or R&B or pop type feel. But something that's really cool about this bass is that they all have really unique looks. Now the current price of this bass is $749 USD. And when I saw this bass, I was like, oh, it's gotta be like somewhere over $1,000. And when I saw it was $700, I was like, what? And it's partly because they like to make these creative, unique looks, which is what you normally see on like a really high dollar bass, but they make it at a really affordable level. And I was like, dude, that's actually really sick. If I was starting out on bass, or even like going from a beginner bass up, I would probably get something like this. And so, yeah, it's just really awesome how the looks of it can really change a lot. Now let's take a listen to what this bass sounds like. Now, I know I haven't hit all the companies out there, so if you guys have any recommendations for other basses and brands, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you want to support this channel, feel free to click and make a purchase through any of my affiliate links in the description below, to where if you make a purchase through those links, this channel gets a kickback to bring you more videos. Also, don't forget to check out my website, travisdykesmusic.com, where you can purchase a lot of different items that help support this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.